Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Trials of Mana on the Mysterious JG. Off screen I kind of checked to make sure that the most recent save was going to work, and it does, so maybe we can quick run up here before it changes to night and see if we get the same scene. You may find a zone as a large temple and okay, well never mind. Maybe they saved after I'd already had that conversation. But yeah, I was kind of trying to get to a point where I could switch games, and I'm not beholden to this game, but I guess I'm one video away from that now. Eep! I thought I could read these books in the Super Famicom version. Is there someone you're searching for? Yeah, I'm looking for Jose. You seen him? Yeah, in the mirror every morning. What? Yes, sometimes you run up to people and you think you can talk to them and you can't, and you just jump. Other times you run up to people and you can talk to them, but you're angled slightly wrong. So instead of talking to them, you go, "What?" You're the little boy who helped her escape. How dare you? I was with my mom a second ago, but I got a little lost. Or maybe you're not that little boy. How dare you? Are we allowed to take a nap in this, I was about to say it's Charlotte's bedroom, but it looks a little big for that. Do not shout below temple grounds. All I did was go, eep! I was trying to jump again, but now it's like I want to jump, and I can't because I'm oriented to talk to you. We're running on temple grounds. Sorry, buddy, I got auto dash enabled. Duran's like, yeah, F these guys. Bunch of priests. I'm sword dude. That's great, Duran. Oh, all sorts of exciting courtyards to be explored that I may or may not have explored. In the version of this that will count. Aww, they got little kitty sounds. Wow, your kitties are basically identical. That's great. I'm so thankful to have a chance to speak with His Eminence, but I believe my son has wandered off. Where did he go? See, that feels like a quest, but you can't really do a quest like that in this game. The crags make it nearly impossible to get out of the ruins by foot. The lighthouse is supposed to be in use, so I hear. What ruins? What the... I feel like I missed a NPC I should have encountered before I got to you. I came a long way to meet with His Eminence, the Priest of Light. I know you're not Jose, because he doesn't actually have a Latin accent. I'm here to pray for my sick mother. I hope it helps her. Whatever makes you feel better. There are weird thumping noises coming from Cascade Cavern. What could they be? Temple here. Window was built so close to the ruins in order to protect the light stone. Ah. So these ruins of light are not accessible now, but the light stone is there. I wonder if that'll be important. Meanwhile, Angela could have like an Asuna quality to her, and Duran could be her. Oh man, I'm blanking on his name. The Olvan, the dwarf who I made kind of talk like John Rhys Davies, sort of, but not really. In way back in the days of, I'm getting so sentimental about old LPs in this series. But since they're both voice acted, it's hard for me to just make Duran follow her around going, "If I were Thumbelina," which didn't make sense. Even at the time. I try to find time to pray to the man goddess every day. That's great. Well, you got nothing else to do, I suppose. You're one of the olds. You guys just pray. It's crazy. I love you crazy olds. She's a rebellious ... folks. We've established this. Stop. Shake time. And there appears to be no purpose of coming here. Several of the locations that you visit during people's flashbacks will eventually be places where you gotta fight monsters. Or guards during the plot. Like, I think there might be a moment where we have to actually fight in Altina because they're some of the villains at the moment in the story. Similarly, I know in the place where Hawk's story starts, you'll have to fight your way past enemy ninjas there at one point in the story. But Wendell, I don't remember there being a scene like that, so it does seem like the map has given us plenty of places where there could be just an encounter that doesn't do you any good.
Alright, old man, tell us how you make Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Well, he's the priest of light, not Priest Wendell.
Okay.
So you're the priest of light, You're plainer than I expected.
I thought you were going to be totally
I was
hot.
hoping you might have some wisdom to share.
So she's being sincere. She cupped her breast.
Whoa.
Jeez.
You're the priest of light, right?
Okay, so in the Super Famicom version, I don't know like if it's like this with every character, but it's a lot more fun because like one character will literally just shoulder block the other one across the room to talk to the Priest of Light.
Tell me how to change my class. I need to be stronger now. Please.
We'll just load state to where JG was off-screen leveling.
There is no way you could switch classes right now. You lack the experience necessary for such a feat.
You suck too much.
But
You must have...
I'm sorry, but if I'm being brutally honest, when I say I was leveling off-screen, I leveled way too much off-screen. I think at one point I even got up and left and went for a walk and forgot to put the PlayStation 4 in rest mode, so you'll see some pretty ridiculous-looking times on the clock. But honestly, in order to... If you find a good spot to grind and you just want to be able to level up, Duran is like, you know, like a less than one afternoon's day's worth of training. I mean, if it's like, in order to defeat the Crimson Wizard, you must train all afternoon, it really doesn't seem like that impossible anymore, you know?
At least heard tell of the Mana Stones, correct? First, you must gain enough experience through battle, then call upon a Mana Stone's power to switch to another class.
So in this version of the game in particular, more so than the Super Famicom version, progressing in the plot far enough to find a Mana Stone is going to be a lot more work than just getting to the required level of experience. That's not going to be a problem.
who's got time for that? Your Eminence, if I don't get stronger, I can't give that Crimson Jerk what's coming to him.
Speaking of Crimson Jerks.
Wait! I have something to say. Your Eminence, please listen. I have come from the Sanctuary of Mana to tell you that the Mana Tree is...
I won't listen to you unless you shoulder block that guy out of my line of sight.
Withering? But without the Mana Tree, the seals on the Mana Stones will break. The Benevodons will be released into the world.
And they're moderately difficult bosses.
What is that?
She's clipping through her own
You're
chest.
acting like this doesn't affect you.
Well, it doesn't.
You've been chosen by Fairy. This means that you alone can retrieve the Sword of Manna from the Sanctuary.
Say what?
What? There's no way. What does this mean, Fairy?
I'm
sorry.
It's up to you.
With the mana in the world so depleted, a fairy can't leave the sanctuary for long without a host. If I hadn't found you, I wouldn't have made it.
That's why I've just sacrificed your life to a quest that cannot succeed.
Well, that's good for you, but what about me? I've had enough of this hosting business. Go haunt the old geezer instead.
Would that I were able to bear your burden. However, once a fairy finds a host, they are bound to them for their whole life. Only death can part them.
Yeah, besides, I'm only as old as I feel.
What? Sorry, but no way am I getting mixed up in this. I don't need any Sword of Manna.
I fight with a club.
The true Queen of Altena wants the Sword of Manna, doesn't she? This is your chance to get it first, and to prove to her that you are strong in your own right.
Playing up your
Hey,
inferiority
stop
complex,
digging around
huh?
in my thoughts without permission, Fairy. I can't believe this. What is this Sword of Manna anyway?
Oddly enough, it's an axe.
The Sword of Manna is the embodiment of the ancient power of mana, guiding force of spirits.
You know, whiskey, vodka, gin.
It is an alternate form of the golden
Well, I guess
wand
gin is one of the
used to
spirits.
create the world itself.
Pretty
The
cool,
one
huh?
who holds the mana sword gains awesome power.
But you tend to get it with only one dungeon left in the game, and you don't have a lot of chance to use it or anything like that. It's more of a plot sword.
The sword lies in the roots of the mana tree, waiting.
Interminably waiting. And then...
Before the mana tree withers completely, you must reclaim the sword and awaken the goddess of mana once more. She alone can bring peace to the realm and grant your wish.
Only the creator of the world can help you reconcile with your
wants
mother?
that sword. If I manage to get it first, she'll finally acknowledge my abilities.
I mean, it's cool that Angela has a personal motivation that, you know, underneath the whole Valley Girl exterior, she wants to prove herself to her mother. But she seems to be overlooking the fact that her mother is willing to murder her. That, like, I don't know. Maybe Angela's a better person than I am, but I would be kind of pissed. It's tough for me to wrap my head around it. I can't come up with a circumstance where my mother would want me dead. But if she did, I might respond with anger.
Okay then. Where can I find the Sanctuary of Mana?
I mean, how can I ditch Duran and get a more interesting party member?
I'm so sorry. But with mana so depleted, I don't have enough power to open the portal to the sanctuary. Not by myself.
Well, what good are you?
Throughout the world are 8 points of mana energy, mana stones, sealing away the fearsome Benevodons.
Formerly known as the God
If
Beasts.
you activate the mana stones, the portal connecting our world to the Sanctuary of Mana should appear.
It should appear, but it's too damn lazy.
Through that portal is the Sanctuary. However, you should know that the energy inside the 8 mana stones was sealed on purpose as the mana goddess began her slumber.
Because it's really pricey.
What should I do?
In ages past, there once was an ancient spell used to control the energy from the mana stones and bend it to the user's
Yeah, I'm
will.
familiar with that one as it
However,
happens.
countries refused to allow each other any control of the spell and use of the mana stones. The war that followed caused unspeakable damage. It was nearly as destructive as the sealed Benevodons.
I don't get why they're called Benevodons. It seems like the root word is benevolence, which doesn't really fit. I mean, it fits the god beast part where it's like, oh, they're gods, they're good, but they're beasts. But yeah, benevolent. It's kind of a neat sounding word that doesn't work if you think about what the root word would be. I might be missing something here.
The survivors cursed the magic to avoid future tragedy and forbade anyone from using it. Now the life of any person who uses the spell will be forfeit.
But wait a second. Then my mom is full of crap?
There is no longer anyone alive who knows how to work this cursed spell.
This might be exactly what she's about to say, but that was their whole deal, was apparently the Queen of Reason and the Crimson Wizard, some subset of the two, knows how to do it, and do it in such a way that Angela dies instead of one of them. So either his information is wrong, or the villains can wreak a lot of havoc. They need to be stopped, but they might not know what they're talking about. They might not actually be able to get the Mana Stone's power at all.
There may be one
Yeah, Angela is
way.
not bursting in here.
If we borrow the powers of the elemental spirits that reside near the Mana Stones instead, I can combine their powers with what remains of mine to open the portal for everyone.
Thus giving us a plot reason to get the mana spirits that are in every mana game.
Splendid! This is a relief. If you wish to find a Mana Stone, I've heard many say that the Lightstone is in Cascade Cavern, guarded by the elemental Lumina.
Yeah,
which is
but
the cavern you
I
pass
mean,
through in
if you
order
just
to
got
reach
that
it.
off of like Facebook or Twitter, I don't know if you can rely on it.
With what remains of
And if you
her
got it from
power,
Parlor,
she can
boy.
help you find Lumina in the cavern. See if you may borrow his light powers.
You know, steal them.
Okay, answer me straight, Fairy. If I go along with you for this journey, will the Mana Goddess grant my wish?
Certainly.
Even if it's really
You
dirty.
can become the world's strongest swordsman. Let's do this.
Fairy is pretty clearly just playing these two.
Then I'm in.
I mean, she's already, like, searched Angela's thoughts for ways to manipulate her. Angela's smart enough to know that's what's happening, but still not quite willing to, you know, cut it off. The Priest of Light's faith has granted you a new ability. Learned chain ability, Hope Boost. Priest of Light chain ability, base Hope increased by 30. Chain abilities. Chain abilities can be used by all party members. Learn more abilities by allocating training points and meeting people along your journey. You may learn chain abilities from quite unexpected acquaintances. And honestly, this is one reason that my tendency to go around talking to all the NPCs is more useful than you might think. You actually get chain abilities occasionally by just talking to characters. This, I believe, is the first one you can get. I might be wrong. But now, like if I were to go into the menus here, training, nobody has training points to spend. But if I were to, that's not right, it's gear stats, I guess. Yeah, so like she doesn't have a helmet, which is odd. And he actually should equip a ring, because I think I picked up some more rings along. Well, actually, I probably need to give that to Charlotte instead. But like, I haven't equipped any skills on her. But I could give her break armor. I'd have to take it off of him. It's weird how they work. I'm not always sure that I even get it, but like, magic recoil is an Angela-only skill. But if she gets a reclaim, you see it's got that little logo with two people standing next to each other. She would have to unlock it, but once she unlocks it, I could have somebody else use it. Whereas magic recoil would only be for her. Similarly here, Duran has break armor. I could have Angela use it instead of Duran, but Duran's the one who had to unlock it. Counter, on the other hand, is only going to be for him. It might be that Angela can eventually learn counter. I don't know. But then back to our gear stats. So I gave him the two things that have been unlocked so far, but now we've got HP boost. Either one of them could take it. I'll give it to Angela. And she's got... As we unlock new classes, she'll get more abilities until eventually when she's... This game has like an actual third post-story class change that you can do. The original game, you could change classes twice. So I don't know if we'll get a full 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 abilities by the end of the story, or if that sixth one is only unlocked post-game. I have a feeling that post-game class change is kind of lesser. It probably just opens up new things that you can get, passives, on the ability list here, and doesn't really affect things as much as the other class changes would. But here we go. So that's the story. Splendid. This is Relief. If you wish to find a Mana Stone, I've heard many say that the Light Stone is in Cascade Cavern, guarded by the element Lumina. It is the cavern you pass through in order to reach here. So that's pretty exciting. If you take Fairy with what remains of her power, she can help you find Lumina in the cavern. See if you may borrow his light powers for those light days. So that's a pretty exciting idea. If you play the original Secret of Mana, well, rather, Seiken Densetsu 2 or Secret of Mana, the Lumina is a fairly late game spirit and fairly powerful, although it only grants spells to one of your two casters in that game. And this one, on the other hand, several of Carly's, because Carly does a lot of healing magic, which is almost all Lumina, but it's the spirit stuff, and all we're going to get from it in the short term is Holy Bolt. But eventually, if I choose the light path with like character upgrades and class changes, Angela will have some really damaging high-end light magic attacks. And light, I mean, light, it's kind of a weird term to use for magic, light magic, because, you know, light and dark magic makes sense, but like a lot of the game stuff will talk about heavy damage or light damage, which doesn't work as good. So Holy works better. I think of it as like the the holy elemental. Ooh.
Well, broke my shins. And Duran, you coming down here?
Nope, Duran's just going to stay behind. That's one way to lose him. Anyway, it's interesting. Angela's sick of her hosting duties. Perhaps she should contact Double D, which is not actually a cup-sized joke. That's a reference to like decades ago on Cartoon Network when they used to have, you know, What a Cartoons. They would have like somebody or other would host like Friday nights on Cartoon Network, and it would be one of their characters, and Double D from Ed, Edd and Eddy. I just always remember the phrase, Double D's got hosting duty again, because they had a handful of bumpers between shows with Double D from Ed, Edd and Eddy hosting, and they just went to them a lot because it was easy.
Don't leave me behind. I need to save heat. I'm coming with you, whether you like it or not.
I wasn't planning to leave you behind, kid, but whatever. Charlotte joined the party. Okay, so... Yeah, I was trying to trick her into talking to her grandpa.
I think I'll wait out here. I left without telling Grandpa.
So yeah,
He's
so
probably
that's
really mad.
a slight annoyance. Doesn't really feel that annoying during the Super Famicom game, but with the voice acting making it take longer, yeah, it's kind of irritating that every time you try to go into that temple, you have that little scene. And that only happens with Charlotte. Any other group, any threesome that doesn't include Charlotte, all three members will go talk to the Priest of Light. As a matter of fact, part of what made me remember the people cross-checking each other across the screen, like Angela starts talking to him and then Duran knocks her across the screen to talk instead, is that after his bit of dialogue, if like Hawkeye or Reese or Kevin was the next character, they would knock Duran halfway across the screen to talk to the Priest of Light. So now I ought to be able to save the game.
Welcome.
And I'll save it over this slot with only 2 characters. And now what I can do is test and see. 11 hours, 11 minutes. Is that
Come again.
slot now, or have I already done some plot stuff that we don't want to do yet? Oh, they're at Cascade Cavern. Well, we better go back into Cascade Cavern and just make sure there's no cinematic of us re-entering Cascade Cavern for the first time post-story sequence. I'm not trying to be pervy. The default camera angle can be pretty showy on Angela if you don't like think to manually adjust it. Stats can affect moves. Shows you moves. Okay, nothing where we just automatically go straight to some kind of cinematic. So unless there's a cinematic the first time you enter this screen, and there is, okay.
Wait, stop.
Stop. Hammer time. Oh, 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 oh.
There's mana power coming from the waterfall. See that strange hole? Further up. I bet Lumina is in there.
He loves hanging out in holes.
Okay. So now if we go to this screen, I believe we're just going to check and see here, because we're not going to really advance the story before the next video, but I ought to be able to load in the Cascade Cavern. And I believe I went through and I might have done the Wendell stuff just to get better equipment. But we'll know in a second here. Did I... Nope. Actually, this is probably wrong. Oh, no, it's not... Well, it's not totally... It's a bit wrong. Yeah, it's a bit wrong. Because I don't think we got up to this point in the map, did we? I don't... Yeah, it's Cascade Cavern 1 is where we kind of got to, so... I think I know how to connect the joins here. Alright, so here's what we'll do. We'll load the Holy City of Wendell. This video might go slightly long, but I'm pretty sure I can get to the point where I join and we can basically jump ahead from having everyone around level 3 or 4 to having everyone at level 11. But what I wanted to check in that save slot where we're at level 11, we haven't actually found Lumina yet, so I know where we are in the story because we advance a little further in this dungeon here, but we haven't actually found Lumina. There's a save statue right before you get into the sequence that gives you your first mana spirit. Looks like that's where I saved it, right before that happened, as opposed to just after it happened. So, if we follow the story, we ought to be able to get there. There might be a little bit of dungeon crawling that we gotta do first.
We can take this enemy in no time.
Especially if we run away.
Get out of my way before I break you.
Jeez. He's a violent misfit. And I realized
Taking out all the enemies
that I
nearby.
was actually going the wrong direction. There's a...
Wait, stop.
Hammer time.
So now if we follow the yellow stars, follow the yellow brick road.
All right, I'll clear your way.
It's over.
Nothing's over.
No time to celebrate. Let's get moving.
Well, we didn't take damage. I could have sworn I did there, but okay.
This will be faster if we fight together.
And I got put to sleep. So you see, the AI characters are not very aggressive, although they will use their supers occasionally.
All right.
I'll do that right
Clear your
now.
way. Leave
Oh,
it to me.
wrong button combo. Critical hit. Terminated.
A triumph.
It sure is a triumph. So we should get some kind of story scene here.
Is that the whole fairy was talking about? How do we even get over there?
How's that even a hole?
Oh, right. I forgot you can't fly. I think I can use the residual mana power in the waterfall to get you over there.
We just have to reverse the polarity of the neutron flow here.
Give it a try.
She's got little hands growing out of her ears.
We did it!
I was just wondering if we can go, but yeah, we can, but there's no cinematic. It's just like there's no scene of fairy saying, "What are you doing? How many times do you think I can do that?" So this introduces us to armored enemies who take very little damage until you hit them with enough strong attacks that their armor is considered broken.
Fight properly in this cramped cavern.
That's true. I haven't fought enough on screen in this cave to hear all the cave-specific dialogue or speeches that they get, including Angela having some pretty fun, like, I'm a girl, I don't belong in the cave type stuff. Like, what am I doing in a gross cave? Oh my god.
Let's focus on finding Lumina.
Of course. I need to learn how to use magic. Leave it to me.
Oh, I cut off some dialogue that I didn't even know what it was there.
Right.
Next.
I need to learn how to use magic to, well, something.
I'm sure it was great dialogue, whatever it was. We got experience for opening a chest. I didn't even know that happened in this game. Well, this is pretty much for sure the.
Let's take it out before it does more damage.
No thanks.
This is pretty much the way that we have to go to advance. And there's the area that we were at before. Here's a little bit of hidden, well, quasi-hidden loot. We got a circlet. I think that's a helmet for our party leader here. Yep, that's for the party leader. Duran, no one can beat him. I guess I'll give him one more point in strength because he's pretty close to maxing out his strength training. So I say giving him a point to strength, what I'm really doing is allocating another training point to strength training because it's not actually affecting the stat. And,
Let's take it out before it does more damage.
Angela will have a lot more to do than just me wailing on buttons once we get a little farther in the plot and get our hands on Lumina.
It's too gross and dark in this cave.
Yeah, that's the one I was waiting for.
It's too gross and dark in this cave.
And of these three characters, I have a lot more affection for Angela than the other two. Much as I don't remember disliking Rise, but if I do another playthrough of this with Rise, Kevin, and Hawkeye, it'll be Kevin and Hawkeye. Who, you know, I'll have the feels about. So here we go, guys. When we come back next time, we'll be here, but we'll be many levels higher. And we'll be ready to go into an exciting new room where exciting new plot will probably happen. And if not, it'll be an exciting new room of just fighting generic monsters before getting to a room, eventually, where plot will happen. See you then, guys.